What's up, everybody?
What's
It's
up,
Saturday
everybody?
night,
Hello, hello.
so you know what time it is. It's time for Have a Conversation After Dark. If you're watching now, or if you're watching the replay, it doesn't really matter if you're watching that. Well, it does matter if you're watching now or watching the replay. That's not what I meant,
Why are you talking so fast?
because I want to get to the question. What I want you to do is
You're talking too
share
fast.
this, okay?
It's like you had 2 cups of coffee or something.
Share this. That's our only ask, is that you share this, right? So I'm gonna say this just because I just feel like saying it. I often hear, people talk about how when you go live, that it doesn't matter if anybody's watching or not.
It doesn't.
Just keep going live. It does
Yeah.
matter. It matters. That sounds very inspirational and motivational to say, to get you to keep going and keep doing and keep pushing, but it does matter. It does. Like,
You say so.
well, maybe how about this? I'll say, to me it does. It does. Now, it's not going to stop me from going live. The fact that nobody's watching is not going to stop me from going live. However, I would be lying if I said it didn't matter. Because we get on here to be impactful.
Yeah, but people may watch. You don't know if people watch the replay or actually
I don't. People do
the
watch it.
replay.
People do
So
watch it.
Whoever needs to see it will see.
The-
I always say that.
Right. But here's the point I'm making in all of that. The point I'm making in all of that is, if you're watching this at all, whether it is when it is airing live or 10 months from now, all we're asking is that you hit the share button. That's it. I got to shout out somebody. I got to shout out Maurice from Facebook.
Maurice from Facebook.
Shares,
Oh,
if not everything, shares 98% of what we put on what we put
thank you,
on
Maurice, very much.
on social media. So that's dope. I appreciate. So I've never given him a shout out in a live stream, but I'm doing that now. So if you happen to see this, Maurice, we salute you, my guy, because that's dope.
Right.
Nope, that's not how you salute. That's not, a career in the military is not in your future.
Surely.
All right, listen, let's get into this. This is have a conversation after dark. It is all about sparking conversation. We say this at the beginning, at the end. Conversation is a catalyst for growth. Conversation is a catalyst for learning. Conversation is a catalyst for bonding. We often just throw topics out there, not because we want to give you some advice on those topics, but because we want you to start talking about those topics. Okay. So we're not going to be on here long tonight. There are two questions that we want to pose. I'm going to ask you, and whoever happens to come on, if you happen to come on, jump in the comments. First question is this: how much public display of affection is too much?
For me,
Yeah.
I'm okay with a hug, a kiss. That's probably about it. You might be able to pat me on the butt. That's about it.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna try some things in the coming days and weeks.
I just told you
And well,
what
you
it
said
is.
you said you think, so let's test it out. Let's test. I mean, only way you're gonna know is if I do some more stuff.
Knowing you won't do any of it. So I'm
So
safe.
so check this out, right? And I know what I'm about to say is pushing the envelope, but I'm gonna give you an extreme, right? I'm giving an extreme. I was watching a video of this couple on the beach that got confronted because they were covered up under a blanket having sex on the beach. They were not the only people on the beach. Now, is that too much?
Yes.
Even under the blanket?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you know what's happening, even if it's under the blanket.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with them, though?
Huh?
Yeah, I mean, if somebody's having sex under a blanket and we know that's what's happening, what does that have to do with us? You know what's happening in the hotel room. What's the difference? You know what's happening.
But you can't see it.
You can't see it under the blanket either.
Okay.
I'm not saying I'm an advocate for it. I'm just trying to ask. I'm just trying to figure out
I think
why is that too much?
Because you can tell what's happening. So I just
Okay.
feel like that's too much.
All right. So that's the first question. How much display of affection is too much? If I were to answer that question, I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to think about that because that's not something we've ever talked about. We've never talked about like what can you do and what you can't do. If you saw the graphic for this, it's the title is "No, you can't do that." So, is this a conversation that you have had with your spouse? And if so, what are the limitations, if any?
So let me ask you this, since you said I don't know.
Mhm.
Has there been anything, I guess not, because you would have said, even if it was after the fact, has there been anything that I've done so far that you would have preferred that I didn't do?
No.
Okay.
And that's why I'm not sure that I have a limit. I really don't. And I'm not saying that like I'm just this anything goes kind of guy, but I've never thought about that. Like what, like if there's a limit, like how much is too much? I've never thought about that. So I just thought it was a good question to pose to anybody who happens to run across this.
I mean, I feel like it doesn't have to be anything more than that for me. Like what I said, a hug, a kiss, a pat on the butt. I'm okay with that. Because, you don't have to, everybody doesn't need to know everything about your relationship. And even if it's not indecent exposure type thing, like the whole having sex under the blanket, that's just, people don't need to know that about your relationship. Some things just don't have to be done. Some things in your relationship don't need to be publicized.
Okay. What, and I'm not pushing back, but this is a legitimate question. What is the, do you think that's based on principle as much as it's based on, the only word I can think of is embarrassment, but that's not necessarily the word I'm thinking about. But is that principle based, or is that just, okay, that's what I feel like should happen? Like, I don't feel like,
Or that's what I feel like should not happen.
yeah. You know what do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not articulating it right. So you have some things that are a belief system.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have some things that are just like, well, that's a little awkward and kind of embarrassing for me. So
It
therefore I
makes me
don't, right,
uncomfortable,
I don't want to
therefore.
do it. Right.
Um, it might be all relative,
Okay.
maybe.
Because I just wondering, like, is it,
Maybe
because
it's a
for
little
some
bit of
people it
both.
may be, I don't believe that the public should see certain things. And then there's some people who are like, well, it would be pretty awkward to have sex outside where people are.
Yeah.
And so therefore I don't think you
I
should
think
do it.
it's a little bit of both. I think for me, I think it's the former
Okay.
of
So
what
it's
you
a
said.
principle for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
For me, I don't know. Other people might feel like I don't care if you do it, but I'd be uncomfortable doing it. That may be some other people's.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
And again, this is, admittedly, as much as we say we're proponents of conversation, admittedly, this is a conversation we've never had.
I think the most we've talked about PDA is um when I asked you, or when we talked about how each of us feel about holding hands in
Mm.
public. I
Hmm.
think that is the extent of
Yeah.
our PDA conversation.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I don't have an answer. Like, I'm not sure I have, if I do, let's put it this way. If I have limits,
Hmm.
they're probably pretty broad.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think that anything, well, that's not true. I was going to say I don't think that anything is awkward. I won't say that I don't think anything is awkward. But I think there are very, very few things that you could do that I would be like, nah, don't do that.
Hmm.
You shouldn't have done that.
Hmm.
I can't think of anything right now.
Hmm.
Barring you just stripping naked in the mall. I'd be like, yeah, let's go in the bathroom. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we could stay in the mall, but let's get out the hallway. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't think I have anything that is that. And I think really the question that I'm posing, and people who are watching now are watching the replay whenever you want to do this. The question I think I'm posing is this a conversation that couples have?
I think
Or is it a conversation, or is it something that doesn't come up until you
until,
actually do something that they're like, hey, fam, like,
yeah.
don't do that no more.
Or remember what you did in the mall? You should do that more
Or you
often.
should do that more often.
Hmm.
Right. Maybe until it comes up. So that's the first question. How much public display of affection is too much?
Hmm.
Nisi gave her limitations. In the coming weeks, I'm going to be testing those. So maybe we'll do a follow-up just to say, hey, listen, I you know lifted her skirt up in the I wouldn't really do that, but I'm just joking.
I
But
didn't even say that.
uh,
I didn't say that that was one.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about stuff you didn't say, because you said I think. So that means it's not set in stone. So I may be able to try some stuff, and you might be like, "Oh yeah, I can add that to the
Yeah,
list."
no, don't lift my skirt up in
No,
public.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I was really joking when I said that, but I am going to try something. I'm going to try something that I haven't already done,
Mm,
and see what happens.
okay.
Try something that I haven't already done, and we'll see. Maybe we'll come back and do a follow up, and I can share what I tried,
Okay.
and then we'll see what your reaction was. If you added it to the list, or if it's like the title. No, you can't
Okay.
do that.
I'm gonna do it too then.
Okay. Yeah, I would actually welcome you to test the limits, because I'm not 100% sure what my limitations are in that area.
Mm.
I'm not.
Yeah,
Now,
okay.
I can tell you one. don't pull my shorts down
Oh, I would never do that.
in the mall.
I would
I
never
might,
do that.
you know, in my 20s, I might have been
Really?
like, hey, put the hat out so we can get some dollars on this one.
Oh my
But
goodness.
probably now,
Oh,
I don't know that I would do that.
yeah, no.
I don't know that I would do that
I
now.
wouldn't do that.
I don't know that I would do that now. Shout out to Gamal in
I
the
wouldn't do
comments.
that. What's up, Gamal?
Gamal said, I'd like to be respectful of
Of
my
my wife
wife
and the
and
people
the people
around
around
us.
us.
But other than that, I can't really think of limits to PDA.
Of course, nothing
And of
illegal.
course, nothing illegal. Right. Maybe if the mood is right, I can find out what the boundaries are. I've never had that conversation with Mo.
Okay.
Yeah, see, we never had that conversation
We never had,
either.
hey, fam, we never had that conversation either. And it's interesting that we've never had that conversation because there are little things that I've done and they've gone over well. They've been received well, I feel like. No?
Yeah.
Have you ever felt, and I haven't done nothing like outlandish, but of the
No.
little things that I have done, like you've been surprised.
Only because I know the type of person you are. Do you know
You
how
know,
difficult?
I'm a private person.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
And that's why, because I was going to say, do you know how difficult it is? I know this, even though you do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult for you to hold hands with me in public.
Difficult is a strong word.
What would you say then?
Here is honestly, and you may not believe this, but this is honestly why I don't always hold hands. I don't hold hands because my hands and your hands don't fit together right.
What? What do you mean?
They don't. Like, hold my hand right now. Like, if you were to hold like this, maybe. But if you did like this, after a while, this will become uncomfortable for me.
I don't like this anyway.
Oh, well, see, there you go. Well, we'll try this then.
Never mind. Forget it. Just forget it.
So here's the thing. Outside of that, because you put your arm in you put your arm in mine. We have a little fondling here and there, like
fondling.
Well, me, not you.
No, you've never done that. What do you mean?
I've grabbed on you in public.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. My butt. Yeah.
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 And outside of you just kind of having this look of, like this,
and
what? Kind of look.
That's why, because of the whole, what I just said about the hand holding thing. Okay. Because I know how private you are. So outside of the little butt tap and putting your arm around my waist or around my shoulder, you've never done anything else.
Listen, y'all are seeing this conversation play out in real life, because we have never had this conversation before, ever, until tonight. Now, that being said, it is a conversation that should be had. Mm-hmm. Let's just put it out there. It's a conversation that should be had. How much public display of affection is too much? I like what Gamal said about being respectful of his wife. Definitely. And the people, not just his wife, but and the people around them.
And that's what I'm saying about this whole
that thing on the beach.
Yeah, having sex on the beach under the blanket. You know what's happening.
Because that's not essentially, arguably, that's not respectful to the people around you.
I don't think it is.
Okay.
Especially, if there are families around. Like, how do you explain that to children?
To kids, yeah. I get that.
So, okay. Children or not, but I'm just saying.
So let's take that off the table. We're at an adult-only resort. Mm-hmm. What now?
I still think that the whole sex for me, even if it's an adult-only resort, sex under a blanket out in public for everyone else to see is just not my thing. And I don't think that I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that.
Okay. I get that.
If you have to do that, then go somewhere secluded.
Okay. I'm with that.
Yeah.
I'm definitely with that. Find a clearing in the woods, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now, can I say this just for shock value and for the sake of argument? I don't know that there's a right or wrong.
I don't know that there's a right or wrong either. That's just my preference.
And that's why I asked, is this more principle based or is this more preference based? And I personally think it's preference based, because I can't say definitively that couple in that video that I saw, that they were wrong for doing that. Now, the people made a huge deal about it
Mm-hmm.
that confronted them, so much so that the cops had to be involved.
Mm-hmm.
But were they wrong? I don't know. That's not what this show is about anyway.
Yeah.
This is not to determine right or wrong, but you definitely need to have a conversation about that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first question. How much public display of affection is too much? Feel free to answer that. If you're popping in and out or you catching this on the replay, you can share with us your comments in the comments section. Now, let's go to the second question because we're gonna be in and out tonight. Here's the second question. Second question is this. This is more for indoors, behind closed doors in your bedroom. This is the second question, or A and B question. Have you established sexual boundaries?
Mm-hmm.
This is inside your home now, within the two of you. And secondly, is that even necessary in marriage?
I think that we have established boundaries, but again, I don't think that it was a conversation that
Not up
we
front.
had
Not
up
up.
front.
Yeah, not up front. It wasn't.
But I think it might have been a situation where we might have tried something and either it was like, oh, don't do that, or
Mm-hmm.
we sensed the no, I don't like that,
Okay.
body language type thing.
So the boundaries came out of experience,
The boundaries came out of experience.
not out
It
of
might have
conversation.
been communicated during sex
Mm-hmm.
or after sex.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think
That's
we
true.
ever
That's
had,
true.
yeah, I don't
We've
think
had
we
some
ever had,
after conversations.
right.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever sat down and had a conversation beforehand of, I don't want you to ever do this. I don't want you to ever do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to, yeah, I don't think we ever had. And yes, I do think it's necessary in marriage.
You do think it's necessary? Okay. Shout out to Sam in the comments. Sam said, to be honest, there is not a right or wrong. It should be about discernment. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I can buy that. I may be old fashioned, Kamal says, but I do believe sex is sacred. Yes, it is fun and should be enjoyed within marriage. However, there's just something about displaying sex that cheapens it. I'm no prude, but it's just not something I'm comfortable with.
100%.
Get it? 100%.
100%. Come on.
100%. Get it?
Yep.
I get it. I get it. Sam says there are some who think that the public thing is about the rush
and the excitement. Yeah.
I agree with that too.
Yep.
And listen, I'm with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think to build up that level of, I don't know what it would be, euphoria, that adrenaline,
Mm-hmm.
just that thing that kind of gets you ready for when you do get behind closed doors. I think that's cool. Now, you got to determine what that is.
Mm-hmm.
Like how much of that is acceptable. And to use what Gamal said, how much of that is respectful to the folks around you and to your wife?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, you don't want to objectify your partner either.
Yeah.
And you may not think that, but the people around us may think that. Yeah. So I don't know.
There are some who think that the public thing is about the rush and the excitement. I get that, but I'm still with Gamal. To me, sex is sacred as well, and the rush or excitement for me could be me sexting you or something like that. It still doesn't have to be anything for the public to see or know.
I wasn't talking about sex though when I said that.
Oh, well,
I was talking about just public display it as a whole, just me grabbing on you or us being playful in the store or something.
Talking about the sex under the blanket thing.
He might have been, but that's not what I was talking about.
Okay.
I was just saying that I think there is some I think there is some merit to building excitement in that way. Mm-hmm. A little touch here, a little whatever, you know what I'm saying? That kind of builds up for, okay, keep playing around, bro. Mm-hmm. Wait till you get home. Keep playing. That kind of thing, right? Yeah. That I think is good. Mm-hmm. Gamal said, I believe anything that hurts either of us physically or mentally by making us feel uncomfortable is going to be off the table.
Yeah.
Also, I would like enthusiastic consent when it comes to sex. Mm-hmm. Any sex act has to be something we both enjoy, not a particular act I forced her into.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Sam said yes, he did mean
The
under the
under the
blanket in the
blanket.
public.
Yeah.
So that's what Sam was going. That's
Right.
not where I was going, but that's so.
Okay.
Thank you for clarifying that, Sam.
Mhm.
Yeah. So listen again. Conversations that don't always happen,
Mhm.
or conversations that don't happen until you run across something that you don't want on that list.
Right.
I dare say, and again, this is not an advice show, but I dare say it would be profitable to have that conversation ahead of time.
It would be, but I, how many people do though? Honestly, how many couples do?
I don't know. That's a
Yeah.
great question. I have to see if I can find some statistics on that, but I do believe that there is a benefit to having it ahead of time
Mhm.
because obviously as you grow and as you learn each other, you know, that's not a one and done conversation because as you grow, that list may change. Some things
Mhm.
may fall off of it, some things may be added to it. But I think initially going in, you may have some idea. So even like what Kamal just said, right?
Mhm.
Anything that hurts either of us physically or mentally, right? That's something that you can establish going in, like from the gate. Now you
Yeah.
may not have specifics about what those things are, but at least you have some that's a parameter of sorts
It could be. It
that
could
could be
be.
set ahead of time,
Yeah.
right? Sam said I agree with Gamal about being
Being
exclusive.
exclusive.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's the second question. Those of you who joined us a little earlier, I mean a little later, I'll share with you the first question. The first question was this: how much public display of affection is too much? Second question is: have you established sexual boundaries? Is that even necessary in marriage?
Mhm.
You said it is necessary.
Yeah, I think so.
I would agree. If you were asking me that question, I would say yes, it is necessary in marriage. Um, you have folk who, and we got a pastor in the comments, and so I'm sure he's heard this misinterpretation several times where we take this text about the marriage bed being
It's
undefiled
undefiled. Yeah.
to mean that we can just be out here reckless, you know what I'm saying, in the bedroom, and that's not what it means. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Um, and now reckless to us may mean something very different than reckless to somebody else,
Mhm.
which is probably why this conversation is necessary
Mhm.
of having some kind of boundaries in the bedroom.
Mhm.
So that's our 2 cents on it. As you all are, um, listen, have this conversation. That's our only admonition tonight. Is have that conversation. Samuel said, how do you deal with those who believe that the marriage should be the place where there should be total freedom to explore?
I mean, I think that that is true. Don't you think that's true?
I I'm
Let me read it again.
okay. I'll put it back up.
How do you deal with those who believe that the marriage should be the place where there should be total freedom to explore? Yeah.
So I'm gonna give you my opinion. I'm not saying this is right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's law. I do believe that marriage, the marital experience, is the place where you should explore. Now, here is here is the caveat, if you will. Exploration should not be, and again, this is I kind of shine away. I try to shy away from advice on this on Saturday night, but exploration should not be influenced by outside, and this is tough because it's hard not to be
Finish
influenced
what
by
you're saying
outside. But
though
what I was going to say is your exploration should not be influenced by outside entities. So, for example, I should not be watching a porno
and say,
and
hey,
be like,
let's
oh,
try that.
yeah, you know what? Let's try, let me go try that out.
Mm.
Right. I think exploration is, hey, listen, we want to explore each other. I want to know where on your body just makes you the most excited. Like that's
Yeah.
exploration, right?
Right.
Not, oh, I saw, so and so jump off the roof and flip upside down, all that. And I don't know that that's what we should be doing. But
And
yes, there should be exploration.
there should be exploration, and there's it to Gamal's point though as well. It should we should both be okay with it or come
Mm-hmm.
to an agreement or consent or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't be something that you guilt me into doing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If I'm not comfortable with it and I'm telling you I'm not comfortable with it, at least maybe I'll try it. But then after I've tried it, if I still say I'm not comfortable with it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, for you to say, to try and guilt me into it
Mm-hmm.
is not, we're not on the same page.
Yeah,
So,
I agree with that. I agree with that. Samuel said, and guilt and shame free. I'm assuming he's adding to that statement about
yeah.
in the marriage. Now, the guilt and shame free piece may come with growth because depending on what your situation and scenario was previous to getting married, there may be some level of guilt and shame that you have to work through and you have to support your spouse through um, before they can get to a place where they are guilt and shame free. So there are some that can just jump right into that. They didn't experience any trauma. There weren't any things that happened in their past that kind of uh, made them gun shy, so to speak. But if that is the case, then there's certain things that have to happen. You have to be willing to support. You may have to get help. You may have to seek counseling, all that kind of stuff, right? So
Yeah,
to get through that. Gamal says some exploration could be hurtful to your partner or your marriage. If at all possible, I would recommend avoiding pain. Also,
definitely.
porn isn't a good inspiration for exploration.
Nope.
Agreed. It's not real, and what is displayed can often lead to emotional hurt and even physical
Physical hurt
hurt
down the
down the road.
road. Hmm.
Agreed. 100%. 100%. Sam's adding to his comment also previous trauma. Yeah, and that's what I was just talking about as well. I would hate to deal with the consequences of my exploration.
Instead of enjoying a guilt-free sex life with
Yep.
my wife.
Yep. And that's the whole
For sure.
that's the whole exploration thing, right? Too, right? Because the exploration thing is more than just positions and more than just toys and more than just that kind of thing, right? The exploration thing is and I dare say that the positions and that kind of thing is probably a byproduct of the exploration and not the exploration itself.
Itself.
Exploration, when I think exploration, I'm thinking, okay, what are the erogenous zones?
Right.
If I kiss her on the back of her neck and she jumps, I'm like, oh, check. That's exploration, right? If I kiss her on the back of the neck and she don't do nothing, also check. Okay, let me go. Let me move to another place, right? That's exploration to me,
Yeah.
right? That's not, oh, let me flip you upside down and let me swing you from the chandelier. Like that stuff is the result of the exploration. The exploration will take us wherever it takes us. That's just me. I'm not saying that's law. I'm just saying that's me. So, all right, listen, appreciate you guys being in the comments, man. I know this is shorter than what we normally do. But if you happen to catch this on the replay, go back and rewind so you can see the first question and then put your answers in the comments. I do think that it is a conversation that is worth having. Yes, many of us don't have it. As you can see, the previous question, we had never talked about it. We literally talked about it in front of you. So, Sam said, if both people agree that porn is just
make
make believe,
then I really don't see how it hurts
so
anyone. Really don't see how it
hurts anyone. So here's what I'm gonna say without going into
Porn land.
yeah, without going into what we would
porn
normally do inside the relationship. Porn is a slippery slope.
It is.
Even if you both agree that it's make believe and that it's harmless, porn is a slippery slope. I'll just leave it at that. I won't go too deep into that. Just know that there's some things that are slippery slopes. And some people slide down way faster than others. Some people don't. Think about it like this. When it's icy outside, you got some people who just can walk confidently for a really long time before they, do anything, right? You got some people, as soon as they take that first step into the driveway, boom, they're gone. But you don't know who's who. And you don't know what patch of ice is going to make you do that.
Yeah.
Porn is that. That's all I'm saying. you got to be careful. It's probably not wise to run on ice, even if you feel like you great at being on ice, because you just never know what patch is gonna make you bust your head open. And I think that's I'll say that's what I'll say about porn.
Guys, thank you for the. Oh, you're welcome.
You're welcome,
Samuel.
sir. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Glad you found it.
Yeah, we had a great time with that. Couples week of prayer ended today.
Yeah.
This morning. I will put it all in a package and post it so that people who want to see the replays can do that. Sam said, yes, yes, I agree with you. Could be a slippery slope. Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. So we got to be careful with some of those things. Again, it warrants a conversation.
Yep.
Right? It warrants a conversation. And, there are certain things as it relates to this question. Should you establish boundaries? Yes, you should establish boundaries. Now, if you were asking my advice, I would say that my advice would be that a boundary would be to exclude porn. That's my advice.
Yeah.
And I can give you reasons for that another time, but that's my personal advice. Barring that, though, I think this is a conversation that should be had. I think there's some merit to having this conversation about this and the public display of affection. Listen, man, we appreciate you guys. If you're around on Thursday, we won't be around this Thursday. We'll be doing a rebroadcast this Thursday. However, typically on Thursdays, we are doing Inside the Relationship. Inside the Relationship is where you do get some advice. Like, we do talk about some marital topics and give what we feel like is sound advice around those topics. So that happens on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Feel free to catch the replay on all of these places where you might be watching this as well. If you missed a week of prayer, you can also catch the replays of that as well. Did a week of prayer this past week. It was really, really great time praying for various aspects of marriage. And so if you missed that, you can also catch that replay wherever you're watching this. And I will actually post a link to all 7 days at some point tomorrow. So if you follow us on social media, you'll see that as well.
Yeah.
All right. So listen, thank you guys for being a part of this experience tonight. Listen, this experience is all about having conversation. We say it at the beginning and we say it at the end. Conversation is a catalyst for learning. Conversation is a catalyst for growth. And conversation is a catalyst for bonding.
Yeah.
So you should be having a conversation. Sam says, I'm a big believer in a couple having a non-judgmental space to have unfiltered conversation.
Absolutely.
1,000%.
Absolutely.
1,000%. And if you can't do it there, you can't do it nowhere.
If you can't do it with your spouse, then
you can't do it nowhere.
Yeah.
And if you can't do it with your spouse, that's okay, because you can be taught how to do that. You can be taken through some exercises. And if the two of you are willing to learn how to communicate on an extraordinary level, you can do that. Shameless plug. That's our specialty.
That's what we do.
You want to communicate on an extraordinary level? We are your people.
We got you.
So feel free to reach out to us. Say, hey, listen, can I get a free discovery call so we can talk about some things and see if we're a good fit to walk you through that.
Yep.
Doing that, and because that's what we do. That's what we do. Listen, we're gonna get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday night.
Yes. I hope it's not as hot for you as it is for us here.
What kind of hot you talking about? I hope it's really hot for you.
I was talking about the weather.
Oh, you talking about the temperature?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Some like it hot, some like it cold. The hot I'm talking about, I pray you experience.
All right.
How about that?
Okay.
Have a fantastic rest of your evening and a great weekend. We will see you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Peace.